Mental health. 3 questions. What is it? How big is this issue? And what are the stigmas associated with it? For the first question, most people would have some idea of how to define mental health. The other two, however, are not as simple. Is the prevalence of mental health disorders a burden on the education system? Should universities provide additional resources to treat these issues? And finally, does society's perception of mental health present a barrier for students to access the resources they need? Let's start off with the first question. What is mental health? Broadly defined, it's about you having control over the events in your life, rather than these events controlling you. For instance, one of the greatest difficulties that students face every day is expectations. Based on how we were raised, the people we spend time with, and how we think about the world around us, we develop expectations for what our lives should be like both in the present and in the future. When we fail to reach the expectations we've set out for ourselves, disappointment, anxiety, and in some cases, depression may ensue. If these emotions are prolonged and we lose the ability to perform normal daily tasks, it's important to note that this isn't a sign of weakness. Instead, it's an indication that we need to seek support from our family, friends, or professionals. In fact, mental health issues affect almost everyone at least once in their lifetime. Now, this leads to our second question. How big is this issue? According to the National College Health Assessment, 89% of all Canadian post-secondary students reported feeling overwhelmed by their responsibilities within the last 12 months. More than half had felt a sense of hopelessness, and over a third reported being so depressed that it was difficult to function. Mental health issues affect your friends, your family, and chances are they're affecting you. So knowing how common mental health issues are, why don't we hear about them? Why don't people talk about mental health in the cafeteria? What's stopping people from seeking help for their struggles? It all comes down to one word: stigma. Stigma driven by myths and misconceptions about mental illness. A common one, often perpetuated by media, is that individuals with mental illness are violent. This stigma can act as a barrier, limiting opportunities for employment, housing, and education, causing the loss of family and friends. It can also affect self-image when one starts to believe the negative views held by others, known as self-stigma. The goal of our project, Unleash the Academia, is to investigate how mental health and mental illness are perceived on university campuses. We want to know what students, professors, and staff have to say, and investigate whether mental health stigma exists on campus.